Sup, nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and we're talking about Imhotep by Cosmos.
So in this box, you'll get everything you see here, except for this awesome playmat that you'll have to find at a convention somewhere, or buy it online.
Or Aaron's house.
Or yeah, just come over and you can touch mine. But anyways,
This is mine. What are you talking about?
Guys, I'm keeping this.
the mat doesn't really add anything to it except for
Putting style
awesome.
points.
style points. Yeah,
Yeah.
It takes instead of tracking your points on this board that I gave you before, you can track it on the mat, and it has a spot to actually lay all the blocks.
Oh, it doesn't give you anything. It gives you so much.
I'm just saying, like, if you're
It
jealous,
doesn't functionally change the game at all.
Yeah.
It just makes things kind of
Look
everything
better in
has
every
a
way.
place.
Yeah.
Better in every way.
So, functionally, what is this game? This game is awesome. I'm trying to. It's a resource management, strategy based, like punch each other in the face type of game in a way, like because you're collecting your resources and loading them onto boats, but just because you put resources on a boat doesn't mean you control a boat. Anybody can move that boat once it reaches its limit of what it needs, the minimum. And then we go to these different locations, and they all have different ways of scoring points.
Yeah, so you have like 3 actions. It's just
On
get more of your color thing, put your color thing on a boat, or launch a boat. That can be launched. There is, and actually the very first time we played this, Wes, I put like 1 cube on this boat. Boats. I put 1 cube on this boat that can hold 4, and Wes immediately launched it like, ha ha ha, screw everybody else. But it does have a limit. It says how many you have to have on there before you can launch it.
That's not a fault against me.
It is definitely
It's a fault against Aaron, who is
it's
teaching us the game.
But the fact that you launched that was a character flaw against you.
The whole point of this game, though, is to be cutthroat, backstabby. Someone makes a boat perfect where they want to go, and you launch it somewhere else just to mess it up.
Which is because this is like at its core, and really when you look at it, it looks like just a very dry Euro, and there's a lot of that in there. But this has a lot more player interaction than a lot of the other dry Euros. You know, the idea of player interaction being just, I take this before you get it. I draft this because you wanted it, or I have this bonus first, or something. Mm-hmm. That's in a lot of Euros. And here you have like direct control over what other players do. So while it's still not like pure conflict, right? There's no battles, but it has the type of, I have power over this other player's turn. Like that's something that I don't see in a lot of other Euros.
I do think this game is very unique. Like even when we're trying to describe what kind of game it is, I think it's part of why we like it so much is there's not a lot of games that are quite like this in the way that like you could take cubes or place cubes. Like that seems very generic. Mm-hmm. But the way like every single location you can go to does completely different things, and you don't always get to control what locations you visit because you could just be hopping on someone else's boat that steers it somewhere else, or you could just steer other people's boats without any of your cubes on it. So even putting it into words is almost like hard to describe exactly what it is without like explaining all the rules to you, which is one of the things that makes this game so great for me is because of its uniqueness.
You can't put it into words.
Every location also has a reverse side, so there's an A side and a B side, which
Playmat doesn't.
So see, the playmat doesn't even have that.
It's going to ruin the thumbnail.
Which adds a lot of replayability and different strategy each time you play, because going the A side of the pyramid, it's just one pyramid, and you just build. It's a 3x3 and a 2x2 and a 1x1. So you're just building up, and you're getting points as you place your blocks on there immediately. Like, you know, so if you load up on the boat, you're going to strategize like, oh, I want to make sure I'm the first off the boat, so I get this spot, so I get 2 points. Oh, and then maybe in a later round, you might put your cube at the back of a boat, hoping that it goes to that spot so that you're the last one off the boat, so you get the 4 points or whatever. And, you know, so it's just very straightforward. But then you flip to the other side, and there's just 3 little pyramids that you're building, and they all get built one at a time. And, you know, so it just slightly changes the way you strategize how you put things on boats. Because, you know, I could put something at the front of one boat and it may be good for this location, but if somebody ships that boat over here instead, it might not be as good for me, you know? So just being the first on a boat, and you can choose which spot you want on it. So that's where a lot of the strategy comes in.
And there's a lot of hoping and praying with that too. Of like, I'm gonna put it here, and I really hope I get to control where this goes, or it goes where I want it to do. Or if I go to the second spot, and it's a 4-spot boat, I go to the second spot. Tom takes the third spot. Aaron takes fourth spot. It launches.
Now you're
like
really the first.
I am the first spot now because the first spot was left empty.
And especially when I see you go to the second spot and I look around, like the first thing you do is I'm like, I'm going to go to this second spot. Well, then every other player is going to look and say, well, what's the second thing that he wants? You know, like, 'cause that's obvious. That's information. Actually, I think maybe the first time we played, or when you come in the burial chamber, this arrow, I think in the rules it says that you put it like this. Even though it looks like you're coming into a chamber and it would slide all the way to the bottom. And they go like that.
Either way, as long as you're playing...
Yeah, as long as you're playing consistently. Yeah.
I think you do start at the top, though.
But it looks...
This is...
But like if we're putting stones into a burial chamber and we put it right there, that's the door. We're not going to be able to get through to put more in there. We have to go...
The door is...
The door's here. Oh no, there's a door here. That's
another
way. There's 2 doors. That's
3 doors down.
That's just a dent in the wall. This is solid review material here.
So Imhotep is a very cutthroat player interactive Euro where you're just building pyramids with giant blocks. And can I say that these giant blocks are so satisfying? Like they could have made this game with just like the regular cubes that you see in most games, but like these big blocks.
It would have affected the gameplay because you do stack them a lot. And when they're really tiny, they'd be a lot more prone to getting knocked over.
Yeah. They're very satisfying blocks.
So in case you can't tell, I think we're all on the same page with this game, that it is one of the few games. Now, we all have our own respective collections. There's no Neverboard Gaming collection. There's my collection, Aaron's collection, Wes's collection, which can be a problem sometimes. There's a surprising amount of games where it's like, well, if Wes has it, I don't need it. Or if Aaron has it, I don't need it kind of thing. This is in the very, very, very short list of where we feel that there needs to be 3 copies between the 3 of us, one at each house.
Yeah, I definitely want my own copy. I definitely have my own copy.
He doesn't have to play that, bro. Buy it.
You know what to do, right? We're gonna put a plug right here, right now. This is us plugging. Buy this game because obviously all 3 of us like it. Link in the description.
And you like all 3 of us.
And while we're plugging things, we may as well plug ourselves and tell you to subscribe to our channel because that's what people do. And that way you won't be bored anymore.
It's probably the worst ending I've ever done.
Imhotep by Cosmos.
The original art for this box had Bender from the one episode. You watch Futurama?